All right, everyone, thank you for joining us today. We want to welcome you to the council meeting. Our chair will be joining us shortly. Our vice chair is not able to be here, but we have several of our board members, as you can see on your screen. If you're participating in the webinar, please introduce yourself in the chat box. If you're on Zoom, we'd love to be able to say hello to you and get to know who's attending. Also, if you have any questions that come up as we go along, please type those and any other comments that you have into the chat box. I'll be monitoring that and try to highlight as many of those as I can. We will also give others an opportunity to share towards the end of the meeting, and I'll be able to grant you access to speak and be shown on video if you're attending the webinar. So what we're going to do today is go over our officer reports. We have a great guest presentation planned from Lindsey Jackson. She's a program coordinator with the City of Memphis Greenhouse District. And then we'll hear updates from our working group and committees. Go over any comments, questions, and updates from our audience, and then wrap up the meeting. So without further ado, here we go. We will start with our officer reports, and we are going to save our chair for last. Brenda, since you were here, can you give us a treasurer update?
Sure. So our balance is $1,228, and the last reoccurring charge that we have on there is our GoDaddy.com account for $15.98, and then of course our $10 service charge that hopefully we don't have to deal with much longer. I saw that we approved to move forward moving banks, and so I'll be working on that this month.
Thank you. Harrison, can you give us the secretary update?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Harrison Gibson, Secretary for the Council. For the update, we will be sending out a recording after the meeting. And if you would like to receive recordings and meeting updates and announcements and council news, then I would invite you to follow us on social media and also reach out to us. We'd love to put you on our mailing list so we can keep you apprised of all our ongoings. So we will put that in the chat, and I would also ask everyone to please keep in mind our next meeting, which will be on October 7th at 4 p.m. So tuck that away on your calendar, and we'll keep an eye out for you then. And that about wraps it up for the secretary report. Back to you, Michelin.
Thank you, Harrison. I also serve in the capacity of the past chair for the council. I don't have any particular updates at this time. So what we'll do is I'm going to hand it off to Lindsay to go ahead and give her presentation, and we'll get the rest of the officer reports when Lindsay's finished.
All righty. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to make this presentation. My name is Lindsey Jackson. I currently work as a development project coordinator with City of Memphis. And this presentation that I'm going to share with you all today is called the Greenhouse District. This is a concept plan that myself and my team proposed to address some of the food deserts that are going on in South Memphis. So I will go ahead and share my screen. All righty. So this is an old site. Pigeon Thomas Iron Works was an old steel erection site that was located in South Memphis. And so a part of this project was through the real estate, the READY initiative, the real estate diversity initiative, which is encouraging minority developers to get involved in more aspects of different development projects throughout City of Memphis. So here's the site. It's 9.97 acres on South Main and South Crump Boulevard. And so this is just the layout of the entire site and some of the existing conditions that are present today. And this is our concept, the greenhouse district. Much like every city has a central business district, we felt like, you know, cities should have a greenhouse district to address different food insecurities throughout their cities. And so this is just the concept plan.
Yeah.
So these are my team members, Eric Brinson, Lee Eric Smith, Mari Spence, Michelle Yee, and Victoria Young. They all help assist with this project. So currently this site, which is highlighted here, it's located, it's zoned for gateway and RU2 uses. So City of Memphis just recently, in 2019, finished their comprehensive plan, Memphis 3.0. And this particular area is designated for the South Central Business Improvement District. And so the goal here is to have higher density residential uses, commercial uses that would act as a gateway to go towards downtown Memphis. And so here again, this area is south of Memphis. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Memphis, Tennessee, but this area is south of downtown, population of about 37,958 people. And the site that we are talking about is right here. And so within a 10-minute walk radius, you have some of our most visited tourist attractions from Memphis, like the National Civil Rights Museum, the iconic Beale Street. You know, I used to live in Texas. I worked as a planner in Irving, Texas. And so we have the best barbecue, guys. Sorry, y'all have the best brisket, but Tennessee, Memphis, we have the best barbecue. So if you're ever here, I'd love to give y'all a tour of Memphis. So like I said, this is the site, 10-minute walk. You can go to all of these attractions from where we're proposing the greenhouse district. And here also is the food desert. These are the local closest grocery stores. So here is a Cash Saver, which is, I would say, kind of equivalent to like a Dollar General type of retail grocery store. And then we have a Cordelia's Market, which is more like a boutique kind of grocery store that you would find in a planned development. Think of like the Viridian in Arlington, Texas. That's kind of what that area is over there. And then we have Kroger, another Cash Saver, and another Kroger. All, you know, far away, not accessible. So these are some of the existing conditions of the site. We have a older commercial building that's barely functional. As you can see, there's some sidewalk that's in need of repair. It's a very, very busy street. And so these are the existing conditions actually on the site. So we wanted to kind of use this space for our proposed greenhouse area. And then along this site, there's a street that's Michigan Street, but it's kind of not in use at the moment. So for us, the primary industry drivers would be urban agriculture and technology. We want to get our city of Memphis involved into these industries. Memphis has some of the best water in the country. And so, you know, my thought process was hydroponics. Like, wow, we have really good water that's almost alkaline. Imagine what kind of fruits and veggies we could produce, you know, in Memphis. And being that we wanted to kind of do mixed use, we thought, well, why not have apartments? Why not have farmers markets, retail space, farm to table eateries, you know, make this a development around food. And of course, uplifting and empowering Memphians by having community centers, job training, community kitchens, things like that. So of course we did some research and we looked at some case studies, and this is what we found in Westbrook, Maine, this vertical harvest. So they did public-private partnership. This is a $60 million development. It created 50 full-time jobs and ultimately producing 1 million pounds of produce per year. And another case study that we looked at was in Toronto, Canada, which is, very upscale. 78 condo units sold within the first 2 weeks. You've got 420 units at 1,500 square feet. They have office space, urban agriculture with industrial gardens and kitchens, and it's all totally LEED platinum. So we were thinking, okay, these are, really good examples of people implementing similar projects. So what we proposed on this 9-acre parcel was 247 apartments, 4,000 square feet of retail space, and 124,875 square feet of greenhouse space. And then 30,000 square feet for additional things with education, community center, your lease and office, typical things you would have on a site like this. So I'll just breeze through this. These are just some of the current residential rental markets in Memphis in the downtown area. Average of about $1.60 to $1.85 per square foot. And this is the current retail rental market around here. And keep in mind the site is south of here. So these are some concepts we were coming up with. And this was like a 6-month process of doing the research, going through back and forth. How do we make it work? So we knew we wanted to have an orchard over here. Parking is always an issue. How do we park the space? How do we make it work? Do we want to have retail and school and apartments all in one space? Do we want to have the commercial space along with the greenhouse? Just trying to figure out what would work. And so ultimately, this is what we came up with. You have the orchard here. You have these large industrial greenhouses here. And then we have multifamily over here. And then we put our mixed use toward the front of the entrance, E.H. Crump Boulevard. So people would kind of come into this courtyard area and have your retail space at the bottom and other things at the top. So this is just like a circulation plan of how it all would work. And so, like I said, all this stuff is concept. So with the courtyard area, we want to have public art. We're trying to get public art into more of our spaces in city of Memphis. All of our projects, we're starting to incorporate more public art. We wanted to have really good seating so people feel welcomed and inviting to come in, sit down. All of those things matter. Just overall good design, planters, bike racks, and then programming the space with like outdoor fitness classes, things like that. And so here we have the greenhouse uses, what we were thinking about as far as vertical farming, hydroponics, aquaponics, having a space for composting, and even getting involved into some renewable energy and having some office space and data centers. And so these are 2 companies that are local that are already here in Memphis. Knowledge Quest, if you guys look that up, that is an excellent space in South Memphis where Marlon Foster, he's a pastor, and he's pretty much took what was a really urbanized area, low income area, and he's built out forms that were on vacant lots. And so, we were thinking about doing a partnership with him to kind of implement this more in South Memphis. So our greenhouse uses here, 18,300 square feet. And excuse me, let's see here. Greenhouse number 2, 61,875 square feet. And then of course, having the parking. So we figured if we could have this much square footage, we could ultimately produce 2.5 million pounds of food per year if everything went great. And then here for the mixed use retail space, we're gonna have 14,000 square feet, have some flex education space, leasing center, community center, and then those apartments at an average square foot of 750 square feet. And then it would be about 413 parking spaces. And public parking garages are very expensive. We kind of went back and forth about, can we get away with it? Do we really need it? And we need it, we need it. So it's an expensive thing with public garages. And we have just retail spaces, ideas, concepts of what we would want that farm to table restaurant to look like. What would our idea of a boutique grocery and specialty local food products and farmers markets. And so all of these are local companies that we figure we could partner with that are already existing in Memphis. And so for flex education spaces, we were thinking, why not team up with our local university, the University of Memphis, Southwest Community College. Tech Dino 1 is a great program that's training people. If you have a high school diploma, you can sign up. You can get all these different certifications in technology. And so we figured, why not utilize all these different spaces and incorporate them into the overall concept with the greenhouse district. And that way they can have satellite schools on site so that people who are coming in, they can have access to this training and ultimately work on site. And so these are some of the community center uses we were proposing with the startup restaurants and cooking classes, meeting space, maker space, and community services. A lot of people, rent out these kitchens and they prep for food trucks, they prep for events and things like that. So we figured, why not have a community kitchen that would allow people to do that. And so again, just concepts of what we would envision for the multifamily space, rooftop community gardens, clubhouse, things like that. And ultimately trying to make the space nice, livable, and affordable. So this is our standalone multifamily, 26 units in this building, 35 units here, making the parking, trying to make the parking work. And just, let's see, 106 parking required, and we would provide 112, making sure we meet all the regulations per City of Memphis zoning ordinance. And so these are just streetscapes. This is actually here in Memphis. This is Overton Park. They have all these cute little bicycles over the archway when you enter the park. So we were just thinking, okay, could we build something off of that? Our apartments, we want them to, basically have large sidewalks, trees, you know, almost a complete street type of concept. We definitely wanted to have that urban feel and pedestrian friendly, since that's really lacking in this part of South Memphis right now. And then this is just some of the architecture, you know, that different concepts we're kind of still going back and forth, thinking about, and incorporating sustainable practices, but making sure that, you know, the interior and the exterior has greenery, that you feel alive when you're in a greenhouse district. And then this is just some of the things we're thinking about as far as sustainable site design with bioswales and rainwater reuse, you know, LED lighting, things like that. And so based off our research, you know, these vertical farms, they produce 70 to 95%. You can grow crops with less water than field farming. So that's why we were kind of leaning towards hydroponics and aquaponics. And so based off our research, annual sales per square foot is $25 per square foot on average. And so these are just some cities and companies where they, this is what they produce, the square footage, and then this is the estimated annual production, and then these are the sales. So we were kind of looking at that data to think about how we would approach this. And so I'm gonna breeze through this pro forma. In short, this project, if we were to implement it at full scale, it would pretty much be a price tag of, let me see. The construction costs, yeah, it would pretty much be a price tag of about $41 million. Yeah, if we did everything based off the design concept that I showed earlier. So we're thinking about how can we scale this down to where we could implement it in different neighborhoods and without the retail component and without the multifamily component, and just start off with greenhouses. If we could just start there. Okay, no, I'm sorry. 60 million. I was like, I knew it was a little bit more than that. $60 million if we did everything proposed. So that is the greenhouse district, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And like I said, guys, this is all a concept.
Lindsay, thank you so much. We've got several questions in the chat. Okay. I'm going to just kind of read through those and let you field them. The first question was from Brenda Patton. She asked if the city of Memphis has a sustainability office or department.
Yes, it's Shelby County. So Memphis is the city and Shelby County is the county. And Shelby County does have an office of sustainability.
And then the next question comes from Dave Afton-Dillian. He wants to know what the members of the community think about this greenhouse district plan. Did they have suggestions for it? It's a series of questions. What does the local food scene look like? And how do folks involved with that, you know, what did they think of the project? So basically, what's your community input into the project?
Okay, so we did this through the Urban Land Institute. And so the community outreach that we did do in the neighborhood, people were receptive to it. I would say that there needs to be a lot more community outreach. This was just here's a site, what would you do with the site? This is what me and my team came up with. So to answer his question, there needs to be a lot more community outreach, but the people we did reach were receptive to it.
And then the next question is, what are your thoughts? What were you thinking about when you determined how much parking was needed, and whether or not you had any other unnecessary hurdles that might come about due to city code? Sometimes, I know in our community, city codes sometimes bump up against our projects in a negative way.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. The thought was, how can we make it work with City of Memphis? We have a Unified Development Code, Shelby County Unified Development Code. So when we were proposing this, we stuck with the code, and that's why we had to have that amount of parking to not ask for a variance for that. So that was the thought process. How can we make this work within the code? And what would we be willing to adjust, if there was pushback regarding some of the concepts. So we tried to do everything to City of Memphis code.
And I'm going to call out one compliment. It's probably what we're all thinking, but Catherine Nicholson says it's a beautiful concept. So wanted to make sure you didn't miss that in the chat, Lindsay.
Oh, well, thanks so much. And, hey, I used to live in Dallas. If you guys want to implement it, I'd be happy to work with you all. Like I said, it's just a concept. It was 9 acres of land in the southern part of the city. Clearly there's a problem. I like to try to solve problems. So, if it's a food desert, why not we create a greenhouse district? I think the concept could be implemented in any city. I think it's something that's needed all over the country. If we could produce our own food at a good quality food at a great scale, why not?
Lindsay, another question has come through from Alexandra. What city departments have been involved in the project so far?
So far, housing and community development. So that's where I work. I work in the division of housing and community development. And like I said, this was a project through the Urban Land Institute. So we were asked to work on this particular initiative and what would we come up with. So this project by far hasn't been introduced to the entire city of Memphis, just housing and community development.
So we know first, right? We're getting the preview.
Right.
Very good. Another question has come through from Robin. Any talk about how residents in the area might directly benefit from the produce grown in the greenhouses?
So we hadn't fleshed out everything yet to that level of detail, but obviously people in the community would be welcome. This is something that would be for them. And if they want to work in the garden, we would have like a volunteer aspect of it as well as a paid aspect of it. And that would be with the training that you would receive. Then you can go work in the garden to make, money.
And I'm going to take the last question from Soraya. Would the city of Memphis consider amending their code to include greenhouse districts, or is that something that policy groups should be advocating for, in your opinion?
I think that is absolutely something policy groups should be advocating for, to make city of Memphis aware. I don't work in the planning department. How ours is structured, housing and community development is its own division. And then you have planning that is with city of Memphis and Shelby County. And so I absolutely think we all should be advocating for a greenhouse district in our municipal codes.
Wonderful. Lindsay, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here. It's very exciting to see these projects in detail and how they're being envisioned, especially as these are things we're thinking about for our community, along with lots of other people in the community. And please stay for the rest of the meeting if you have time, and you can hear a little bit about what we're doing. So at this point, I am going to turn it over to Susie Marshall, who can give her officer report, and then will lead us through the working group and committee updates.
Right. Apologies, everyone, for being tardy. It just happened today that's what it was. Thanks everybody for being here, all the board members and all the guests and anyone who's listening. First of all, I want to introduce our new Vista member who is going to be with us for the next year, Destiny Lane. We're really excited to have the support and creativity and energy that she's bringing to the team. So she'll be helping with working groups, and she'll be doing some other projects with us. So we're really excited. Welcome, Destiny. I'm glad you were able to be here too. That's my main update. I'm going to be sure to welcome her. We're going to move to working groups and committee updates. Community Gardens and Urban Agriculture Working Group, you're up first.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave F. Tendillian. I didn't get a chance to type this in the chat, but I'm at TCU in anthropology and human-animal relationships, and I co-chair our CGUA group with Charlie Blaylock, who is a local farmer, and you're going to hear from him in just a second. But at our last meeting, we had an update on the school garden project. We have a subcommittee working on this. Mary Jo Green is chairing that for us. She's from the UK, but she's local now, and she works with several school gardens herself. And the idea is, number one, to reach out and find out what school gardens are actually out there. And then the second piece is, what do they need? What resources are they maybe lacking that we could find a way to help them access. And so Mary Jo's been talking to people, but she's also been doing a more formal survey. And we have, let's see here, 45 survey responses and waiting to hear back from about 15 others that she's going to follow up on. She's talked to a couple municipalities that have, so let me back up. What do they need? They need volunteers, they need help, and they need some coordination. Particularly here in Fort Worth, there is no school garden coordinator. There are a lot of them, some of them through the ISD, some of them at charter schools and so on, but there's no one who actually is coordinating all of that. So the biggest ask would be someone working for Fort Worth ISD who's actually quote unquote in charge of, more about helping all these school gardens. But they need volunteers, they need help. And then, so there's also a roundtable at Dig Deep where everybody involved with school gardens could put in their input and say what they needed help with. I wasn't there for that. Obviously, Mary Jo was, and she had a panel discussion. So we will have learned more from that. But all of this will go into a report that Mary Jo and her team is putting together. And within the working group, we haven't discussed this with the board yet, so try not to be shocked. But we've talked in the past about doing white papers on our advice, you know, when there's an issue that comes up. And so might be a good chance for us to weigh in and say, hey, would be great if we had a coordinator here. Would be great if we had a way to get volunteers able to work in these gardens in different parts of the city. Obviously, it's complicated on a school because people have to be background checked and so forth. So there'd be steps involved. But so down the line, these might be things. Charlie, would you mind doing the Grow Southeast update? And then I'll come back.
Hey everybody, I'm Charlie. I'll try and keep it short, but during the conversation at Dig Deep with Mary Jo about the school gardens, one thing that I wanted to include was that we came up with one of the bigger problems that school gardens have is what to do with them over the summer while everyone is gone. Someone's got to water it, someone's got to weed it, that kind of thing. Mary Jo actually came up with a plan to plant them all in sweet potatoes the last week of school. Sweet potatoes grow like a vigorous vine and will crowd out all of the weeds. And then they'll be ready to harvest the second week that kids come back to school. So pretty ingenious process. which I think is a great idea, and I need to share everywhere I can make that fit people's minds. So at Grow Southeast, our Greater Mount Tabor Church, Tabor Farms, we have completed their well, a 600 and, I'm sorry, we stopped at 580 foot deep well. We still need to get power through that through Encore. Due to a generous partnership, also getting drip irrigation installed at Greater Mount Tabor and Black Wall Street Farm. And at Opal's Farm, they are picking hundreds of pounds of tomatoes every week. So everybody come to Cowtown Farmers Market and enjoy our amazing tomatoes. That's all I got. Oh, no, it's not. Happy birthday, Susie.
Thank you, Charlie. Glad to be having a birthday. It's a pretty cool thing.
Beats the alternative, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Sure does. Sure does.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. So just for anybody listening who may not know, Grow Southeast is, so Southeast Fort Worth is the Southeast we're talking about. And it's a partnership among a bunch of folks in those communities who want to grow produce, partly for profit. These are urban farms, partly to get produce into areas that don't have as good access to the produce as we'd like them to have. And also, Opal's Farm is also about training people how to grow food. And they're actually doing that with starting with their first set of refugees and providing them some space to farm on, which is pretty awesome. And so thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Jesse, for all your work on that project. The last thing I was going to talk about, since Becca's not here, is the Tarrant Area Food Bank Community Garden Program. And Susan gave us the update at our meeting. Biggest thing was we hosted the Dig Deep conference, which was pretty fantastic. People from around the Metroplex came and shared in 3 tracks. So backyard gardening, community gardening, and then market gardening, which is growing food for sale. And we had lots of different talks and roundtables in all these areas. Food provided by the Tarrant Area Food Bank, their training program to teach people how to cook and be caterers and so forth. So Becca and her team did a fantastic job with that. So shout out to her there. Some of that stuff is going to be available online, by the way. There were a few things that were taped, and then some of us, we're providing resources. So you may hear about that a little bit later. So update from the garden program. They're working on a plan to help community gardens kind of go through the steps to get to be a model like Harvesting Hope over in Arlington, which is really well run. They are there, they answer questions from pretty much everybody on how to do a community garden. So we'd like to help all the community gardens in the area that want to get to that place. And so Becca and her team are working on a plan for that. And then we heard updates on a couple new sites. LVT Rise is putting in several sites, and that's part of their 10-year plan, community gardens. TAFB West is going to have a garden at their site. I think that's going to open in October is what I heard, but we'll see. But we're excited about that. And then new project is, what are some plants that grow well, edible plants, vegetables, that grow well in our area that may not be as familiar to some Americans, but may be of interest in other cultures. And so you might think about the Vietnamese gardeners over in Dallas who grow a lot of stuff that they like to cook with, right? That's kind of what we're thinking about. And then some of the refugee gardeners here in Fort Worth, for example, growing pumpkins, not just for their leaves, but because you wrap fish in it to cook with, right? So Becca and her team are trying to get a list of these plants and then info about how to grow them. And then we'll be able to distribute that. So that's a new project we heard about. So our next meeting, and I'll put this in the chat when I finally shut up, which is coming soon. Our next meeting is Thursday, September 23rd at 3 o'clock. And it'll be by Zoom. So everybody's welcome to join us, and you can just email me and I'll get you the info. So that's it from CGUA.
Fantastic. You guys have a lot going on and a lot of things to talk about. I mean, that's great. I feel like we have continued growth and interest in community gardens and urban agriculture in general in our area. Children's Health Working Group, you guys are up next.
Good afternoon. I am Alexandra Thurston, and I will be reporting on our behalf today, though you may see that my super fantastic co-chair in this working group, Bahista Usuri, I always do this. Anyhow, she is here, and because she has a co-pilot today, I am going to go ahead and handle our report. So our last meeting was on June 16th, and we continue to talk about our project, which is centered around working toward policy that would alter the way that sugary beverages are currently highlighted on children's menus in restaurants. So right now, the emphasis is on the fact that we have quite a few new members in municipal leadership in regard to this project. We are starting with the city of Fort Worth, and then, you know, once we kind of get our sea legs, then we would either look at doing other municipalities or going straight to the county level. So right now we're really focused on learning more about our new council members and mayor. And we are also looking at our education strategy, because that would absolutely be a part of getting the community involved. We meet bi-monthly, even months, the third Tuesday at 10:30. No, Wednesday, we changed it. Yes. So our next meeting is scheduled for August 18th at 10:30 a.m. We hold them via Microsoft Teams, and I will indicate my contact information in the chat if you're interested in joining us. Thank you.
Thank you all. That's fantastic. Food Recovery Working Group.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Brittany Rosenberg. I am co-chair of the Food Recovery Working Group alongside Gina Hill, who could not be here today. Unfortunately, we are still very much in the throes of COVID. So a lot of our historic and standard volunteers and volunteer programs that we used to take advantage of are still on hold right now. And with the advance of Delta, that's kind of up in the air. But we still have big plans for the website. So we're working on getting things together for the web page submittal to the communications team. And we hope to work with the new Vista person soon. I think Gina has a plan to reach out and maybe set the meeting. In addition, we've also had a few people volunteer to serve on the speakers bureau that we're hoping to put together for food recovery related topics. So on that note, if anyone else from the Food Policy Council or outside is interested in serving as a resource for food recovery topics, or sometimes maybe a problem solver or a quick question answer, that kind of thing, let us know. Reach out to either myself or Gina. And we will also, that's one of the things that we're going to be asking for on the webpage, is a way to submit yourself as a resource, or submit maybe a new program as a resource as well. And then also white pages. That's something else that we really want to have on that resource page, is examples of other, even if they're not necessarily from Texas or from Tarrant County, our local region, example of successful food recovery models and all the different ways that that can look, whether it's at a restaurant or at a school, or and that there's lots of different examples. It's more about sort of clicking on that culture. We're also going to try to get more of the handout/cards printed that Thank You Blue Zones can be provided, to Tarrant County Public Health, and the City of Fort Worth Consumer Health will also hand those out to restaurants and grocers about food waste. And then hopefully that will also kind of direct traffic and gain awareness about this concept as we come into it. And our goal we've set out previously was to try and get it up before Thanksgiving this year, so that we can maybe try and capitalize on some of that food interest momentum when people are thinking about food and thinking about donating food. more regularly. And then our next meeting is September 8th from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. And if you're interested, again, just reach out to myself or Gina or the Food Policy Council in general, and someone will get you where you're trying to go. Thanks, everyone.
Very good. Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate that. It is a little frustrating to think you might start some programming back and then to have that still not have a timeline. Does the Events and Education Committee, do you guys have anything you would like to share right now? Alexandra, go ahead.
Yes, I did not know that we would be called for this purpose, but I am happy to report.
Only if you have something.
Oh,
that
yes,
you'd
yes,
like to
yes.
Share.
Just in case any like rumblings had already gone out, there was a point in time when we were considering attempting to have some sort of in-person public-facing scenario in October. However, with the updates to the, the way that the virus is currently processing in our county, we realized that that was not a good idea. So we do have some ideas in the works, and we are looking forward to, talking to y'all about that soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nominations are coming up. We've got some board positions that will be open. I'll be working on that committee, and as Soraya Adibi is also, and we need one or two other board members, just so you guys can think about that. Dave, you're exempt since you've already done a lot of work over the years on nominations. But for everybody else, if you are interested in a board position, you can send me a note. I'm putting my email in the chat right now, and let me know that you are. And we'll be sending out emails through our contact list and doing some social media about the nomination process and what that's going to look like. But we have positions that change at the end of the year, so we'll have that process happening pretty quickly. Let me see what else. Does the fundraising committee have anything you want to update? Let me say. Okay. I think we've been all still trying to figure out what we're doing next. Like, do we have the opportunity to do in person or do we not? What does it look like? And so then you just kind of wait to see what's happening.
We do have Alexandra kind of shared for us for the fundraising committee. So it kind of all got tied together, but we did meet, and I don't want to spoil what my conversation with Harrison is about tomorrow. So I'm chatting with him tomorrow, and then we'll have a update for the board, hopefully.
That sounds great. Thanks, Brenda. Other things that people want to share about stuff that's going on?
I want to put this out there again for everybody. I'm still looking for a community health coordinator. I'll put the link for the job description in the chat, and it is a part-time position, 20 to 25 hours that for somebody to help us with our food access program. So I think a good opportunity for possibly a student that's looking to get into food systems work, or anybody else that's interested. And so they would be helping me with some food access programs. So I'll drop the link here in the chat.
I have something. The city of Fort Worth is doing a series of summer open houses, which enables citizens to learn more about, review the 2022 bond election proposed list, learn about redistricting software. And there'll also be quite a few city departments that will be on site for, citizens who have questions about pretty much anything. So I'll drop the link for that in the chat because there are several dates and locations.
Very good. Thank you, Alexandra. Other things to share, events happening, information, ways to get involved?
Go ahead,
Catherine.
No, I was going to say Wynella would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Dallas Hunger Summit is happening. So we encourage you to visit the city in the East virtually and join us for the Dallas Hunger Summit, which will be starting in September on September 17th. We'll have currently three consecutive webinars those following Fridays, and it looks to be really good. So if you want information, let me know.
Yes, thanks, Catherine. We should make sure we share that information to the Tarrant County Facebook page. There was a question, I'll just go ahead and read this. Jeff Williams asked if there's a place to review recordings of the meetings, and Michelin says yes, it'll be posted to YouTube. It was streamed on Facebook Live, so you can go back and catch that as well. I'll be attending the correct name, the Southern Family Farm and Food Systems Conference, formerly the FARFA, Farm and Ranch Freedom Alliance and Texas State Small Producers Conference. They have rebranded, probably a good idea, in San Marcos on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And that's usually a policy heavy conference. So I'll be listening with those ears as well. And there's still a chance to come down and register if you'd like to run away for a couple of days and do something good. We will all be wearing masks, I believe. Okay, last call. Anything else?
I'm going to do my usual, I see Charlie unmuting. Maybe you were going to share the same thing. I'm going to do my usual input or plug for Double Up Food Bucks, Cowtown Farmers Market, and our 3 grocery stores, Elrod's, Foodland, GE. I have flyers, brand new flyers that have all 4 locations and how it works at those locations. So if you have places that you think would be interested in distributing that information, let me know. I'll bring them to you. And I think the food bank has been really amazing because, as a great example of how it works, is their SNAP administrator, I don't know her official title, but person that helps them sign up for SNAP has been giving out that information. So it's like right there, send them to that. So if you have other places you think we could distribute that, let me know. And I'm happy to bring you flyers, or I can share it virtually too.
And you can also, you can get Farmers Market Nutrition Program vouchers at Cowtown. Is that correct, Charlie? You can get the vouchers and use them.
Yes, ma'am. That's where I was going next.
Yeah.
So we have Double Up Food Bucks, meaning we double the amount that you swipe on your SNAP card or EBT card. Pandemic EBT cards are still available as well. We also distribute WIC vouchers. If you have been to the WIC clinic and gotten your shopping list, both of those are available at Cowtown. And even better than that is peaches, cantaloupes, watermelons, and tomatoes are also all available at Cowtown Farmers Market. If you are not in need but still want some great fresh fruits and veggies, come see us on Saturday. I'm going to be back in action this Saturday, and I've got some really amazing Mediterranean eggplants that I want everybody to try. So come see us.
All right. And William, you wanted to share something.
Well, I've been watching the whole time, but my Zoom has been wacky today. So I've been listening and enjoying, but I'm not even been, it's weird. I've done this for 18 months and I act like every time I do a Zoom, I've never done it before. But West 8 is open. We're open 3 days a week now. You know, we're feeding people and being around and being available and doing what we can, but I've not participated much with this group in a while. I think our intern for this summer has a time or two, Julie, but appreciate everything all of you do.
Thank you very much. Others who would like to share anything? We're just about at our time. Jeff, everybody. It's great to have all of you with us today, whether you're here in the meeting or watching virtually in live or on recording. We're plugging away, continuing on through the pandemic and trying to do good work. Our next council meeting will be in October. Will be the first Thursday in October. We'll have nomination stuff happening and all those good things. So be prepared for that. Let your friends know, etc. Please let us know if there's anything we can do for you as the Food Policy Council and board members. I look forward to seeing you guys in our next meeting and on email. It's great to see everybody. Thank you all.